Hello, and welcome to Career Acceleration Circle of Trust. Okay, in this lesson, I want to talk about building your circle of trust. And before I do, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between creating a network and creating a circle of trust. So, for those of you who have been in the Growth Hub, you see I talk about networking, and I consider networking to be a base level activity. It's the thing that you do first, right? You kind of get out there, you meet people, you get to know them. It helps you build confidence and talking to people and all of those things. And having a network and interacting with people will get you to a certain point. But at a deeper level, the level we're going to discuss today in terms of career acceleration and circle of trust, and this level of the program from a confident woman lead accelerator level, I want you to take that to the next level. And I want you to build a circle of trust. Now, a circle of trust is instead of like a network, which sometimes can be surface level, which can be people you know, maybe you have some level of relationship with. These are your deepest, most trusted advisors. These are the people that you encompass yourself with in order to help do a couple things. They, one, help protect you. Right. So have you ever noticed that when a new leader comes into an organization, they always want to put their own people in place? That is their circle of trust. It's the people that they can trust to get the job done, the people that they know will have their back, the people that they trust to insulate them from pretty much not being a good leader or all the things that come with being at the top. So heavy is the crown, right? So when you're at the top, there is always somebody who wants to be in your place, always somebody, right? The haters that want to take you down. That doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, what sex you are, that still exists for you. So that is one of the reasons to have your circle of trust. And in this kind of graphic that you see on the screen, I'm going to break down those that I recommend being your circle of trust. A circle of trust is also different from what I've heard people call a board of advisors, right? That may include like a mentor and a sponsor. And while I have those people listed here, this isn't specifically about just the people in power who can do something for you. And in fact, one of the things that I've learned is that in order to get to where you're going, you don't need a lot of people. You need to find your people, but you do need more than one person, right? Let's not put all of our eggs in the basket for just our boss taking care of us or just this one person. And that's what a circle of trust helps you do. And in the circle of trust, based on the nature of the work you do, there will be overlap. That overlap in terms of the department people work in and things like that will come in handy as you move up. The more that you move up, the more people you need to vouch for you, the more people you need to be willing to say you are the person. And you need an array of people to help you do that. So let's get into what we have here. In the center of the screen, you see you. You are at the center, and you're surrounded by all of these lovely boxes that I have, or like hexagons, pentagons, whatever shape we have here, right? And I'm going to start with a mentor trust. And everyone is familiar with a mentor, at least at a surface level. And so, a mentor, in the case that we're talking about here, is an experienced leader who helps you navigate the workplace with understanding of your career objective, right? This person understands where you want to go. It's less important that they understand, where you are right now, or even what you want your next step to be. But what is your end game, right? Like, where is it that you want to land 5, 10 years from now? Is that chief operating officer, CEO, whatever that might be? You want them to understand your end game because that is the position you want them to give advice. Sometimes when we just want them to give advice on what's happening now, then we box them in to giving you advice that may solve an issue you're having right now, but is detrimental to your long-term growth. Make sure you watch the mentoring video for more on just how to be a good mentee and what to look for in a mentor and all of those great things. So we have our mentor trust. Next, we have our brain trust. This is a person who is an expert in your field or they supplement your knowledge, right? This is someone you can call on when you don't have the answer, when you need to bounce ideas off of someone who sharpens your iron, right? So iron sharpens iron, right? So someone who can kind of go back and forth, spitball, if you will, with you to help you get to some resolve about things that's kind of swirling in your head, right? And or they can reconfirm your theory. Right. So because they have a similar expertise, you can, walk them through what you're thinking and what's going on, and they can offer you solutions that you might not have thought of, but they can also validate things that you thought of. If your brain trust also works at a top four like consulting agency, they also may be able to provide you with things like leverage white papers that you can then pull from and use in your delivery of what you're recommending or proposal. And that is the beauty of having a brain trust. They are a resource for you to pull from, but also someone who helps with your expertise. Sometimes when we are an expert in our field, we may be not only the woman of only Black woman, only woman of color, but also the only one with the level of expertise that we have because we've needed to gain that expertise in order for people to see us, so to speak, right? So sometimes we find ourselves in positions where we're the smartest person on the team in terms of our expert level knowledge, which means we have no one like right there that is useful in terms of brainstorming. So that's why you want to have a brain trust. With that being said, a brain trust can be in or out of your organization. Next, we have a culture trust. So again, this isn't just about the people at work. A culture trust can also be in or out of your company. In would be my preferred recommendation. Um, Yeah, and it would be my preferred recommendation. And this can be someone who's of the culture, whether that's a Black man or a Black woman, someone of color that you find relatable, that is someone who is also highly respected in the workplace, who people look up to, right? Your culture trust is not OJ's friend. That is not the person you want for your culture trust. The point of having a culture trust is someone to keep you connected and grounded to our culture, because in doing so, they keep you connected to you, who you are innately, the authentic version of you. But they do so in a way that uplifts you. So, yes, they may be like, girl, I understand. My boss is giving me the business too. That's going to be followed though with, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to Michelle Obama it. And when they go low, we go high. And here's why. Higher energy always beats lower energy every time. Okay. So have you a culture trust? Have you someone that you can do all of your venting to, but still is going to give you some positive uplift for? As a side note, I don't recommend that you spend a lot of time venting with your mentor. Seeking direction, understanding of how things work, recommendations, yes. Venting, no. That's what your culture trust is there for. Next, we have your strategic trust. And your strategic trust is a leader who can help you see, learn, and understand more about the organization and the big picture. Your strategic trust is at least 2 levels above you and higher if at all possible. You want someone who sits high enough in the organization that they're understanding the business. They understand how your company makes money and the nuances of it, right? So when people think of here in Charlotte, banking is a big thing. But how do banks really make money? And why is that important? It's important because when you understand how your company makes money, you can understand how your objectives helps the company do that or helps the company save money, depending on if you're depending on your role. But once you get clear about that, you can communicate your value so much clearly. You can pick projects that are going to give you high exposure and are going to be high visibility because of their potential to produce something of value to the organization. So, understanding what your company does. Now, some of you may not like this, but your strategic trust is a great role for a white man. And here's why. As we said right now, white men are still at the top of this infrastructure. And if we want to get there, we have to understand more about what's at stake, the pieces that are moving. And a part of that is understanding again how your company makes money. And the people that actually understand that are the people at the top. The everyday worker doesn't necessarily understand that. But what you'll find is that white men at the top will do things that the everyday person doesn't do, such as they will go to make time for and listen to your companies, especially if it's a public company, quarterly financial calls. Because in those calls, it tells you strategic things, how the company is doing, what is the future goals of the company, what are any changes, objectives that if the company isn't going to meet their goals, what is their plan to do it? Those things are often communicated in those Q2, Q3 financial calls before that information kind of trickles down and disseminates to the people with the adjustments, right? Because the financial end of month or end of quarter process is pretty quick. So by the time they get the numbers, by the time they decide what they're going to say to the people on the phone, it hasn't really trickled down to the everyday person and really to even the lower levels of leadership. So this is why I recommend a strategic trust here. One of the things I want you to remember is that Black women are everybody's type. So don't be afraid to reach out. Both men, all men, want to be needed. They have something that you need. And the right leader will be willing to help you. So if the first person you ask doesn't want to help you, ask someone else. Find someone that you find relatable, that you look up to as a leader, and speak with that person. That person is likely to help you. Next, we have informant trust. Girl, everybody needs a good informant. There's a reason the cops got snitches. Everybody needs a good informant, and so do you. Informants are one of the reasons why I know what's going on. They are like your ear to the ground without you needing to be caught up in gossip and the rumor mill and things like that. Executive assistants and admins are great informants. Get to know them, especially get to know one that works for someone who could possibly be your power trust. And we'll talk about power trust in a minute. These are the people that are going to tell you what's moving and shaking, what's really going on, because they have an inside scoop, because they can see the people they report to emails. They can see the information. They are a trusted resource. So they will tell you things that is not readily available to everyone. So you need an informant trust. Sometimes it might be a person that's an HR. Whoever you choose to be your informant trust, you want to keep the things they tell you confidential. That does not mean go and warn the people. We are not out here saving people. That is not what we're doing with the information that our informants give us. This is a circle of trust. Remember that. And trust goes both ways. Next, we have a power trust. A power trust is someone who, again, is at least two levels as high as you can go, for someone who has visibility into you and willing to support you in your career growth genuinely, right? And you also want your power trust to possibly, preferably, also have a team as big as possible. You want your power trust to be an area of opportunity or potential opportunity in your future. A power trust is someone who holds power in the eyes of others. And this person is different than your mentor trust and a sponsor, at least initially. What we fail to understand or have been told in corporate America is to pay attention to where the power resides, right? If your boss can't get you promoted, sometimes it means that it doesn't mean that he or she doesn't want to. It means that they don't hold the power themselves too. And see, we have to understand that so we know when it's time to move on. So you're looking for someone in your organization who is wielding power because the person wielding power has access to information, access to opportunity, access to resources, access to knowledge. That's why you want a power trust. Now, before we close out, at the top of both sides of this paper, you see a coach trust on the left or my left, and you see a sponsor trust on the right if you're looking at the screen like me, right? So the reason why these two are not inside your circle of trust, as you see here on the visual, it's because they kind of sit external to your day-to-day process. I, as your coach trust, I'm here when typically there's a breakdown in your circle of trust, or if you're having a place where you're getting in your own way, you come see me as your coach trust. I'm here to help you see your blind spots. Maybe your mentor or your strategic trust, your power trust says something, but you don't know how to take it or execute it. Then you're going to come and we're going to talk about it because my perspective is neutral, right? I wasn't there, I didn't see it. I don't necessarily have a vested interest in their opinion or that sort of thing, right? Or what happens from that perspective. My only goal is to help you be successful and to help you work through the obstacles that are in your way to success, right? Now, the sponsor trust is outside of that. It's because a sponsor, the person that is ultimately going to be your sponsor, may be a power trust. It could even be a mentor trust. But ultimately, when they become your sponsor, they're on the outside looking at you. They have seen you interact with these various people. They have seen you do your work. They have decided you are someone they want on their team. The two of you together can get things done, can get a result, can produce value, that you add something to their repertoire, that you're someone that they trust, but ultimately that they want to invest in. And you really need this circle of people around you because, again, these circle of people are also providing protection, insulation. They're also keeping you focused for you to get to a sponsor. To get to a sponsor, and please watch the video on a sponsor, you don't just walk up to someone and be like, hey, will you sponsor me? This is like not an AA meeting. No offense, but it's just not. That's not how it works in the process. A sponsor pretty much is the highest level of a relationship in a corporate environment. So to get to that, you have needed to build the infrastructure to have stepping stones to support getting to that place. See, that's what no one tells us. Okay, so what I want you to do as a part of your career acceleration process, especially if you want to get promoted, if you're looking to be in leadership, if you're leading a team right now, is to fill in this. If you go down and click on materials, this visual will come up, and in the boxes, you see those little blue boxes, I want you to put the names of the people there. And if you don't have all of the names, I want you to pick one and start to work on finding that one. And I want you to give yourself 30, no more than 60 days to find each box here. I really prefer that you do it in 30 days or less so that we keep momentum going in your career. But if you get stuck or you need help, don't be afraid to reach out to me on how you can find any one of these people or if you have questions. Bye bye.